Have you ever felt like life is just one long battle? You're fighting to be seen, to be heard, to survive. But deep down, you're not even sure what the fight is for anymore. Today, I'm diving into the 38th evolutionary pattern of change, a powerful blueprint that reveals how to transform senseless struggle into sacred, honorable acts. This is for anyone who's tired of grinding without purpose and ready to become a warrior with a heart. First, I'll start with a parable called The Last Warrior. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. There was once a warrior named Alan who was born into a world at war. His father had fought his grandfather too. By the time Alan came of age, no one questioned the purpose of the fight, only that it must go on. He trained harder than anyone, stronger, sharper. But in his heart, Alan felt something strange, an emptiness, like the battles meant nothing anymore. Still, he fought, he conquered, he was praised, until one day the war ended. The enemy was gone. But Alan could not rest. He picked fights where there were none. He challenged peace. He sabotaged joy. And one night he sat alone at the edge of a cliff and whispered into the wind, "If I don't struggle, who am I?" That night, Alan had a vision. He saw his ancestors, eyes filled not with rage, but with wariness. He saw that their struggle had carved the path for something higher. But it was his task to end the war within. Alan returned home, laid down his sword, and took up the role of a guardian, not of battle, but of peace. He would teach the children not to fight, but to feel, not to conquer, but to care, not to struggle blindly, but to live with purpose. He was no longer at war. He was in honor. The nature of this shadow of struggle. In the various divination systems, this 38th pattern of change is often called the warrior of purpose. Its shadow is struggle, but not all struggle is bad. You see, life itself is movement, challenge, and friction. But the shadow of this evolutionary challenge is when struggle becomes misaligned, when we're fighting without clarity, burning without direction, or pushing against life rather than flowing with it. In this space, the warrior archetype gets distorted. The repressive pattern, it collapses. The person gives up. They feel defeated before they even begin. They tell themselves, "What's the point?" Then there's the reactive pattern, which charges forward, combative, aggressive, fueled by fear, control, or unprocessed pain. In both cases, the core wound is the same. If I'm not struggling, I must be weak. I must be irrelevant. I must be lost. But this isn't weakness. It's simply a shadow frequency, an unconscious attempt to protect one's life force. For those interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work, over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find 4 legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side to make it a nice, evenly balanced square So here is the statements from each zodiac sign, so you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than seven, and because there are more than seven, because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, the hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the six lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements because there are six expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those six lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you will reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, you can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference. For example, I use the human design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right-hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and human design. And there, you'll be able to find a free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your genus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the Wheel of Evolutionary Change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you are meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. Why this exists, survival, and evolution. Let's get honest about something. Struggle was necessary for survival. It's written into our biology. Our ancestors fought for their lives, for food, for safety, for meaning. So one's nervous system has learned, keep going, keep pushing, stay strong, outlast the pain. But now, many of us aren't fighting physical battles as much anymore. We're fighting mental, emotional, and spiritual ones. The battlefield has moved inside. And in this 38th pattern of evolutionary change, it shows us that struggle is not the enemy, it's a teacher. It asks, are you struggling against life or for something greater? When we're stuck in this shadow, everything becomes a fight. Relationships, work, identity, healing. And worst of all, we fight ourselves. Because this isn't our fault. It's a natural part of evolutionary journeys. It's a natural part of our evolutionary journeys. Our spirit was coded to deal with struggle so that we could one day choose a higher cause. Understanding the transition from fear to honor and becoming the sacred warrior. So what happens when we stop fighting out of fear? What happens when we no longer need to be right or strong or in control? We become a warrior, not of the ego, but of the heart. And that's the gift that transmuting this shadow offers. It's the gift of perseverance, not stubbornness, not burnout, but disciplined, soul-guided strength. It's the kind of strength that knows when to rest, knows when to speak, and knows when to stand up, not for validation, but for truth. Eventually, perseverance is a gateway to receiving the grace of honor. At this level, there's no more struggle. You're not fighting for your life anymore. You are life, and you live it with sacred clarity. We were never meant to struggle forever. But the path of the warrior is part of our soul's growth. So let's not be ashamed of the battles we've fought. Let's make sure we know why we're still fighting. And on the other side of the struggle is the radiant, untouchable frequency of that grace of honor. Thank you for walking this path with me through this video and all the different patterns of change that you're researching. Down below in the description, you'll find more about this shadow. You'll also find links. One to contact me directly if you need consultation on the process of moving through these shadows. You'll also find my website where you can learn more about me, what I do, how I do it, and why I do it. There are more links, especially for support. one in divination systems, so you can see how all the fears fuel all the shadows, the repressive, the reactive natures, how to transmute them, and understanding the dilemmas they're in, so you can make choices not from survival mindsets, but self-guided, self-empowered, self-trusting mindsets. The next one is emotional intelligence and mastery, where you learn that the emotions aren't your enemies. They're not meant to be fuel to defeat other people. They're meant to be fuel to empower thyself and the self in others. And lastly, emotional trauma release. That meetup group is all about supporting those who need to purge their anger, their hatred, their rage, to understand what they're really trying to protect, what fears need to be addressed, so that we can proceed with integrity, perseverance, and honor. Thank you for watching this video in its entirety. God bless you on this journey of shadow transmutation, personal alchemy, and self-realization. God bless you. Namaste, and good life to all of you.